suspended by President Cyril Ramaphosa pending the outcome of her parliamentary inquiry. Right, so for more, we're going to cross to our reporter Bulelani Phillip in Parliament. Bulelani, good afternoon. Perhaps you could get your reaction on the back of the suspended public protector having missed her deadline. Walk us through what the implications of this means.
Well, good afternoon to you, Liz, and to the viewers at home. Of course, from committee's perspective, is that this is of grave concern to the committee that the public protector has not responded within the deadline that was actually given to her. And on the second thought is that the committee feels that this is some level of disrespect to the committee, because in the view of the committee, this is not the first time that the public protector has actually missed deadlines set by the
Bulelani, let me interrupt you. Bulelani, let me interrupt you there. We are struggling with you. We're going to get you back on a better line, perhaps to unpack this pertinent story, obviously, making headlines at the top of this hour. Bulelani Phillip, let's see if we can reconnect you there. Other news at this hour. We're obviously looking at the implications of all of this today. One of the top stories, including the suspended public protector advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, as we now understand, has missed her deadline to submit the answers to the questions at this point that had been issued by Parliament, by members of the committee. We understand that there have been some issues with this case at large. Legal representation coming to the fore, the impact of oral evidence, having had some delays. This is due to the impasse over her legal representation. We'll try to understand what the implications of that actually is. I believe Bulelani, in fact, is back. So let me see if we can get him back on the line, perhaps unpack further. Bulelani, good afternoon. So we were obviously in conversation with you just about the implications of the suspended public protector having now missed the deadline. Walk us through what this ultimately entails going forward.
Well, Liz, as I was saying earlier on, is that the committee is saying that this, missing of the deadline by the suspended public protector is actually of grave concerns to them. And also, on the other hand, they feel that they have been disrespected by Advocate Mkhwebane, because this is not the first time that she's actually missed a deadline that has been imposed on her by the committee. And now going forward is that the committee has actually given her another deadline to the end of today for her to indicate in what form is she going to give her closing arguments, whether is it going to be orally or is it going to be in a written format. And the committee is saying that even without her representation being made by yesterday's deadline, the committee is going to continue with the process, and they expect to have the draft report by the end of this month. Lisa?
Bulelani, thank you for that. One at this point, if it comes at any surprise, let me bring the legal representation impasse into the mix as well. What impact did that have on the oral submission, if at all, at this point? Help us understand those dynamics.
Well, there's two sides to this issue of legal representation. On the side of Advocate Mkhwebane, she's saying that she's got new legal representatives and they need time to actually familiarize themselves with the record that began when this process started. And they're saying that they actually need another month for these new legal representatives to actually study that record before briefing senior counsel, which we expect to be still advocated Dalim Bofu. But on the other hand, the committee says that the public protector has been given additional funds for her to be able to pay for her legal representatives, and the committee feels that those new legal representatives have been having sufficient time to have actually familiarized themselves with the process. Now, in the main, is that the public protector feels that the deadlines that have been imposed on her, she feels that they are illegal because the legal representatives are still studying her record. But on the other hand, the committee feels that the new attorneys have actually had enough time in terms of the briefing that they must take from the public protector. But in the end, the committee says that it's satisfied itself that sufficient time has been given to the new attorneys, and they feel that the process of this inquiry cannot be unjustifiably be delayed any longer, because that committee has actually got a mandate to finalize this work for reporting to the National Assembly, given again the issue that is in the backdrop of the committee that the current term of office of the Public Protector expires in mid-October, and therefore they would want to actually finalize this process before that term of office expires. Lisa.
No, absolutely, Bulelani. I think just in conclusion, given the questions that had been submitted by evidence leaders and MPs alike in relation to the CIX reports, CR17 investigation, etc., could you perhaps summarize what some of those questions look like and the significance of it in relation to the investigation?
Well, the questions are actually quite lengthy, given that, as you've said in your intro, MPs have submitted a 56-page report, and the evidence leaders have submitted a 119-page report. And I think in totality, there's over 1,000 questions. Of course, some of them are overlapping. In relation to the issue of the CX report, a lot of questions and emphasis has been placed on asking the Public Protector how she arrived at her recommendation to Parliament that there must be a constitutional amendment for the change of the South African Constitution. And now, in relation to the CR17 campaign investigation that she undertook, given a report that was set aside, she's also been asked to come and take the committee through on which legislation she relied on in terms of coming to the conclusion that President Cyril Ramaphosa had allegedly breached some laws, including being accused of money laundering. So those in the main are some of the questions that are actually coming out. But again, Lizel, I need to bring this point maybe to your attention as well, is that the committee going forward might again be seized with the new application by the Public Protector for the recusal of the chairperson of the committee, Mr. Kubutile Janki, again on the backdrop of the bribery allegations that we've seen in the recent weeks. And the Public Protector, according to the chairperson, has been making this threat that she will be bringing this recusal application, but up until now, none has been forthcoming. And therefore, he's saying that this committee's work is going to proceed and is not going to rely on just waiting, indefinitely with these threats of a new recusal application. Lisa.
Yeah, Bulelani, definitely developing story. We'll continue to monitor you on the SABC. Thank you for that update.